Hello everyone and welcome to another Star Wars figure review. Continuing with the Star Wars Rebels theme that I kicked off in my last review where I gave you a look at the Imperial Assault Carrier from LEGO, today we're going to take a look at more characters from Star Wars Rebels, and this time around we are going to take a look at an action figure 2-pack from Hasbro. This particular set does consist of two very popular characters, the first of which is of course the sinister Sith Lord himself, Darth Vader. This is an awesome figure, the first time that we've seen Darth Vader created as an action figure in the animated Star Wars Rebels style. He looks fantastic, can't wait to show you this guy in more detail. And the second figure that we have in this 2-pack is the former apprentice of Darth Vader, Ahsoka Tano. Now these two characters did recently reappear in Star Wars Rebels, although I've got to be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed with the amount of screen time that they've received in the show so far. At the time of filming this review, the most recent episode that I've seen is Homecoming, in which we see the return of Cham Syndulla from the Clone Wars. And, you know, throughout Season 2 we've seen very little of both Ahsoka and Darth Vader. I was really expecting this season to increase the anticipation for that inevitable duel between the two characters, but the show just doesn't seem to be going anywhere at the moment, so I'm a little bit on the fence in terms of Star Wars Rebels as a whole. But rest assured, this is an awesome action figure 2-pack. These figures are really nice indeed, and I can't wait to show them to you in just a little bit. Before we do that, we are going to of course take a look at the packaging that these two figures come in, and once again we do have the updated Star Wars The Force Awakens packaging design, which you can see Kylo Ren at the top of the card there with the Star Wars logo, and just below that we have some absolutely stunning artwork of Darth Vader and Ahsoka just down the side there. Really nice image indeed, very very cool. As you can see, you've got the character names just below that. At the side of that artwork you do have the window in which the action figures sit, and then on the back of the box you have that very cool artwork once again, some descriptions of the characters included, and some other products available in the Hasbro line. As you'll see, we've got some more 2-packs there, some figures from the Armour Up series, and some figure and vehicle sets as well. Some very very cool packaging. I really like the design on this one, looks absolutely phenomenal, and for you carded collectors out there, this is definitely one that you should consider keeping mint in box. So that is the packaging that these figures come in. Now let's take a look at them in more detail, and we'll kick things off by taking a look at Darth Vader. Now, despite the fact that we've seen 3,762 Darth Vader figures released over the years, I've got to say I am really impressed with this one. I love the design of it, I love the way that Hasbro have put it together, and it just creates a stunning action figure. One of the things I really like about it is the fact that you can really see the heavy influence of the artwork of concept designer Ralph McQuarrie. You may remember Ralph McQuarrie put together the concept art for the original trilogy, and a lot of this artwork has been brought to life and has influenced a lot of the designs in Star Wars Rebels, and Darth Vader is no exception. You've got this sharpened look to the helmet. This is possibly the most evil that Darth Vader has looked in media and in action figure form. Again, you've just got sharper details and just a really crisp and evil look to the character overall. I really love this design, it looks absolutely superb. One of the things that you may notice about this figure as well is that it is one of the first Darth Vader figures for quite some time to feature a plastic cape. Recent Darth Vader figures have received soft goods, whereas this one has a nice sculpted plastic cape which looks stunning. It does limit a little bit of posability with regards to the articulation, but in terms of creating a look for the figure, it is just awesome. It looks really nice. You know, it flows over the shoulders really well. The creases and folds in it have been captured really nicely, and it just looks natural. It looks very cool, and in many ways this is almost sort of a miniature statue in the sense that it just looks like a really premium action figure. So I'm very impressed with Hasbro's efforts with regards to this figure, and really impressed with the overall look of the character in Star Wars Rebels. Now, in terms of articulation, obviously being a part of the Force Awakens lineup, it would seem, this figure is limited in terms of articulation. We do simply get a swivel at the neck, We have swivels at the shoulders, and as I mentioned earlier, some of that articulation is hindered by the plastic cape, although you can raise the arms reasonably high. We also have, I believe, no swivels at the hips, no swivel at the waist rather, but we do have swivels at the hips, and as you can see, like with most recent Star Wars figures, the lower robes have been sculpted to the legs, and the legs are visible inside. Once again, this sculpted plastic look really creates a nice appearance for the figure, and I just absolutely love it. I think it looks superb. As you can see, he does come with his trademark red lightsaber, which has a really nice sculpt on the hilt. This is perhaps one of the most detailed Darth Vader lightsaber hilts that we've seen for some time. The camera doesn't really do it justice, but when you see this thing in person, you know the detail on it is absolutely awesome. So again, kudos goes out to Hasbro for the way they've put this one together. What I also like about this one is the fact that Hasbro have done away with the flare at the end of the lightsaber blade, which they've done for many years, since around 2002. That seems to have disappeared, and we have a much more retro style slender blade coming out of the hilt there, which looks really nice. As you can see, with regards to the rest of the armour, we've got the chest plate there on the torso, you've got the breathing apparatus applied on the chest, and of course all those details on the belt. And you've got this really nice glossy look to the helmet, which looks absolutely amazing. Really, really like that. And as you can see, the lenses on the helmet have been coloured slightly differently as well, just to differentiate some of those features. So a really nice figure, absolutely love this guy, and in many ways he is my favourite of the set. It's really cool to see another Ahsoka figure, but this Darth Vader figure just looks awesome and is a real highlight of the set for me. Now, with regards to action features, we do get a couple of play features with this one. As you can see, we do have this Force Disc Launcher, which is very reminiscent to some of the accessories we saw with the Clone Wars figures back in around 2012, 2013. As you can see, we do have a large red Force Disc attached to this rather large launcher, and on the launcher itself there is a clip which allows you to attach the launcher to Darth Vader's wrist. Now this looks very goofy, almost McDonald's Happy Meal like, but there's just something appealing about this one. It's quite a charming little gimmick, and I've always loved stuff like this. So, you know, it might look a little bit ridiculous in today's day and age, but as a toy, as a play feature, and for something that's going to appeal to kids, this is really, really cool. And to fire the Force Disc itself, you just press the lever at the back of the launcher, and the disc goes firing out. So a reasonable play feature, something different, and that just simply detaches like so. You can replace the lightsaber if you wish to keep this one screen accurate. So that's Darth Vader. Moving on, we do of course have the former apprentice of Anakin Skywalker, or Darth Vader, and that is of course Ahsoka Tano. As I mentioned at the beginning of the review, Ahsoka recently returned in the Clone Wars. She was the anonymous rebel sympathiser that was in constant contact with Hera and the rest of the Rebels crew, and it was really nice to finally see her back in action in Star Wars Rebels. Her story was never really wrapped up in the Clone Wars. She abandoned the Jedi Order and was never really seen or heard from again, so it's really nice to find out what happened to her all those years later. As you can see, Ahsoka has changed in terms of appearance since the Clone Wars. Obviously, she's aged around 15 years, so these head tails have grown a little bit, and obviously her features have matured ever so slightly. She also has a brand new look, which is fairly reminiscent to how she appeared in the Clone Wars. Again, it's just been updated and remodelled for the Star Wars Rebels series. In terms of accessories, as you can see, Ahsoka does come with 2 lightsabers. Once again, these are very similar to the weapons she used in the Clone Wars. We have one short-bladed lightsaber, also known as a Shoto, and we also have the regular lengthy lightsaber as well. Now, the blades are much more of a similar length with this particular figure, but they are, you know, one is still shorter than the other. And as you can see, the blades themselves are actually a sort of pale blue, almost white colour. And according to some behind the scenes intel from Star Wars Rebels, this neutral blade colour is to indicate her non-allegiance, as it were. As I mentioned, she did leave the Jedi Order in the Clone Wars, and obviously she isn't really a Jedi going into Star Wars Rebels. She's sort of a rogue Jedi, if you will. So that blade colour of the lightsaber is just to replicate a neutral feel between the two sides. So that's very, very cool. You also have a curved hilt on one of the lightsabers as well. So again, a reasonably new look for the weapons that she uses. As you can see as well, the detail on the head is really, really nice. What I'm going to do is just zoom in on this one for you so you can get a closer look at it. But as you can see, you've got those really, really nice facial decorations going on there. Definitely a very animated style feel to the head sculpt. And again, you've got all the coloration and pattern going on in those Togruta head tails, which just look very, very nice. So I really do think that Hasbro have captured the likeness of the CGI model really well. Ahsoka looks fantastic in her updated form. The only downside to the figure itself is the fact, well, it's not so much a downside really, it's more of a puzzling aspect, is the fact that attached to the sides of the legs we have two little hooks which look like they're made to house lightsaber hilts. Although for some strange reason we get these hooks but we don't get any actual hilts, and we don't even get the hilts on these lightsabers with anything to attach to these hooks, so they're kind of pointless. They're not even that noticeable in her outfit in the series, so it's not like they needed to be there. Again, it's not a downside or a major issue, it just kind of puzzled me a little bit. As you can see, there's the rest of the outfit, nicely sculpted and nicely painted as well. If you are picking this one up at retail, do be a little bit cautious. Some of the ones I've seen on shelf have had horrendous paint applications on the face, and some of the eyes have been ever so wonky. The lipstick has been applied to the nose on some of them, so just really weird looks for some of these figures, so do be careful when picking this one up on shelf. In terms of articulation, Ahsoka does feature a ball joint at the head. She has swivels at the shoulders and swivels at the hips. Now, like with Darth Vader, where we have the firing force disc, Ahsoka also comes with a play feature, and that is this blue force disc. Now, rather than being a launcher, this is very similar to the force disc that was included with the Clone Wars Darth Maul figure, in the sense there is a handle in the middle, so it allows you to clip the disc into Ahsoka's hand and make it look like she is using the force there, as you can see. Looks a little bit goofy once again, but does the job well. This disc also spins, as you can see, and either side of the disc itself there are a couple of small holes. I'm not entirely sure how well those show up on camera, but what you can do with those holes are attach the lightsabers inside. One goes in one hole, that's the one, and the other just pops in there. As you can see, this creates this double-bladed lightsaber kind of look. Again, very similar to Darth Maul from the Clone Wars, and then all you do is place the lightsaber and the force disc back in the hand and then spin it to create this sort of double spinning lightsaber feature. It doesn't function too well, as Ahsoka doesn't hold the disc particularly tightly in the hand, so it just wobbles around and looks a little bit silly, but again, for a play feature and for something a little bit different for the kids, it works, so I'm not going to complain about it too much. For me, it would have been perfectly fine not to have included these accessories, but they're there, so I'm not going to complain again too much. So there we go, that is Ahsoka Tano and her former master Darth Vader. Altogether a fantastic 2-pack, one that I highly recommend you add to your Star Wars collection, and I dare say that you're going to have no problems picking this one up in stores. For some bizarre reason, despite the popularity of the characters, this does appear to be the peg warmer of this 2-pack wave, so if you do see it out there in the wild, I would say don't hesitate, but the odds are if you go back a few weeks later it's still going to be there. Alternatively, if you want to pick this one up online, you can do so via the link in the video description, which as always will take you to our good friends at staractionfigures.co.uk. So thank you for watching this review, guys. I really hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll be back to give you a look at some more multi-packs up next. I'll be giving you a look at some characters from The Force Awakens in my next review, so make sure you stay tuned for those. And until next time, as always, keep collecting, and may the Force be with you.